Hey everyone, super excited that you're joining us for this thought leadership series, Tech RX, your prescription for tomorrow's healthcare device challenges. We're diving into DevOps for devices, helping innovators at companies in healthcare have a guide to enterprise fleet transformation. I'm so excited to this step-by-step guide with these interviews that we're doing in partnership with Esper so you could transform your devices and fleet. For more resources on how you could do this and make it happen for your organization, go to outcomesrocket.health/Esper. That's ESPER, outcomesrocket.health/Esper. Hope you enjoy the series. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Outcomes Rocket here on this Tech RX series we're doing with Esper, your prescription for tomorrow's healthcare device challenges. We've had the opportunity to touch on navigating the healthcare device conundrum, talking about security, taking the guesswork out of the entire cycle of decision-making around DevOps. And today we have the opportunity to host yet another very interesting episode on the topic. With me is the amazing Sam Clark. She is the Senior Director of Vendor Management and Procurement with Clinical Ink. Sam, such a pleasure to have you here, and thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. And look, before we get into it, I'd love to just give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit more about you and also what Clinical Ink does.
Sure. So I am obviously the Senior Director of Vendor Management and Procurement at Clinical Ink. It's my favorite job I've ever had, so that's a good place to start. I have over a decade of supply chain experience, specifically focused on the crux of hardware and software working together. So this is a really great fit for me, and I'm excited to be able to share my passions with so many other colleagues. Clinical Ink is a clinical trial technology company. What we do is we bring data, technology, and patient-centric research together. Our goal really is to propel technology in clinical trials forward that allows for a better, more seamless, user-friendly experience, both for the clinical trial site itself and for the patients that are enrolled in the trial. And we have technology that allows us to do that through direct data capture, electronic clinical outcome assessments, telehealth, and we're really focused recently on moving into digital biomarkers and e-source solutions. So it's been a really fantastic kind of growth period for us.
That's really great, Sam. Thank you so much for telling us about you. It sounds like you're in your sweet spot, that cross-section between software and hardware in a high-impact role. So we're privileged to have you with us to contribute to this very important discussion. In addition to Sam, everyone listening and watching, we also have Sudhir Reddy with us. He's Esper's CTO. And if you guys remember, he was with us on episode 3, where we discussed security and devices. Sudhir, welcome back. It's great to have you.
Hey again, Saul. Great to be here. And Sam, great to see you again, talk to you again. Just for a brief history, Sam and I have known each other ever since we worked with Clinical Ink for a few years now. Really, and it's been a great journey with Clinical Ink, where they've taught us so much about what we need to do in the healthcare world, as well as, we've hopefully solved their problems in a really cool way. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. And so, Sudhir, thank you very much. It's really an opportunity now to dive into Clinical Ink a little bit more. You guys are a global company doing medical studies, as you mentioned, in many countries, various languages in the world. How do you manage this type of complexity?
Yeah, the complexity, I think, of the business is often overlooked because it's very granular in nature. We are in over 50 countries right now. We have a variety of mobile devices that are deployed with a myriad of different language requirements. For a little background, when doing a clinical trial, it's a best practice and in some cases a requirement to have the documentation in the patient or site's local language. So we have probably more than 50 languages deployed also. To accommodate that, we really focus on building a process that's customized around each study need from the very beginning. And in this kind of specific instance, we also have to make sure that our operational processes align with that. So Right now, we use a provisioning process that allows for us to customize the language at the order level. So we provision devices at each individual order level rather than for the entire study. And that allows the most flexibility. And then we have been fortunate to work with Esper to develop an automated provisioning process that allows for us to easily select that language, lock the language in on the device, so that when it arrives to the site, there's no risk of anybody getting any incorrect languages.
Wow, that's brilliant. And in the clinical trial space, room for error is very small. So certainly great to know that you guys have this partnership that helps deliver on that. You mentioned software and devices. Let's talk about devices for a second. What role do devices play in your business?
The devices have taken kind of a turn in our business. When I started here 5 years ago, we primarily used site-based devices. So things that you may see in a doctor's office or if you're visiting a clinician. But obviously, with the COVID-19 pandemic, the desire for decentralized trials expanded very, very rapidly. And so we suddenly saw a huge influx of need for patient-based devices. And those tend to be mobile phones of some variety. The idea being it is a very critical component for patient adherence to the trial, but also you want to make it convenient, something people can put in their pocket or their bag. You don't want them to be carrying around like a giant laptop-sized device. So we've really expanded heavily into mobile devices. Now, Clinical Ink does allow and offer a service where patients can bring their own device, but we haven't found that to be as popular as we expected. And I think really are seeing a ton of growth kind of in that patient-facing device market right now.
Interesting. Yeah, and I would imagine you would know, I would love to learn from you, Sam. It's probably more secure to have a device that's not brought by the patient.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of complexity around kind of making it user-friendly and secure at the same time, which is a sweet spot that we really want to be able to get to. Obviously, you bring your own device model. There's always the concern that somebody may not be using proper security requirements on their phone. Maybe they're not using a PIN or it's not recognizing them and you have no control. It also makes it particularly challenging to support that device if something goes wrong. And that happens quite a bit. So we've found a really kind of third benefit there. So now you have a secure device that's easy to use, doesn't have too many buttons for folks who may get confused, but we're actually able to remotely access the device when it's enrolled in Esper, which allows our product support team to solve problems a lot easier for our patients.
That's fantastic. And I think this conversation for everybody listening today, it's super useful both from a device management and deployment perspective, but also for all our life sciences listeners, thinking about the process and having partners like Clinical Ink, working with partners like Esper. It's about the ecosystem and how it all comes together. So I really love this, Sam. Okay, so let's get kind of, rubber meets the road here. Once devices are in the field, security is an important part of this. How do you ensure devices are secure and locked down to a specific state?
So essentially, when the device leaves, it's almost in a kiosk mode, about, I would say, 98% of the way to complete kiosk mode. We do have some study specifications that preclude us from hitting the full, you cannot do anything on this device, but it's very close. Essentially, the only settings that we expose are Wi-Fi settings. So there is no other opportunity for anybody to be clicking around. We do also are able to use Esper to push application updates, and those do, of course, include security updates, which we do regularly. And we can guarantee adherence because we're able to see and track when something has been successfully updated, which is a really big challenge because once the device is in the field, you actually can't control when it's turned on. And that has been a hassle for our business in a lot of different ways. You will push an update and then you have to wait until the user just happens to turn the device on. But with the reporting that's available in Esper and the way that we can ensure updates have taken place, we're able to monitor that adherence throughout the lifetime of the trial.
That's beautiful. And it sounds...
If I could jump in here, just
please. Yeah, Sudhir.
When we talked about the security and the compliance part in the previous episode, that's exactly what I was talking about, right? Where customers like Clinical Ink need these highly detailed reports about what applications got deployed to the device and when the device came online and things. And that's the power of being able to report. And we also, Sam, I believe in the last few months, worked through with your compliance reporting needs and got the compliance audit through for various trials as well. So just wanted to throw that in.
No, that's fantastic, Sudhir. Thanks for saying that. And actually, that was a follow-up question that I had here is, how do you ensure device compliance? And even in that scenario where the device is off?
I mean, if the device is off, obviously it is a little challenging. There's kind of minimal opportunities if the device is off, which isn't uncommon. In your shipment model, sometimes devices will remain on for several months before they need to be used, depending on the specific circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think we generally rely on our processes and our partnership with our customers as well. So Clinical Ink doesn't always have a relationship or isn't always able to contact directly the patient that's using the device. So we really are able to leverage our processes with our partners, study team members and sites to ensure that folks are following those best practices.
That's great to hear from the Clinical Ink side. And what about on the Esper side, Sudhir? Share more about how that happens.
Great question, Saul. And obviously, when the phone is off, or the device is off, you wait till the device comes on, which is the human process of going and getting it turned on. But what really the crux of the matter is if the device is on at all, because if it's off, it's not a security threat per se. The moment it comes on, it becomes a security threat and you want it to be compliant and you want to have the latest application. That's where Esper steps in. And we know when the device came on. We know exactly when it came on. And as soon as it comes on, anything new that needs to be pushed to the device, whether it's an application or a file or a security patch, whatever it is, it goes on the device immediately. If it couldn't do that, then somebody gets notified and they can take an action on that. So that's where it becomes key of as soon as it's on, the first thing it does is it gets updated to what the latest is that it needs to be on.
I love that. The analogy that comes to my mind, and you guys could gut check this, is I bought a Ring doorbell and out of the box, I connected it to Wi-Fi and then it said, all right, we've got some updates for you. And then all of a sudden the updates got installed and then boom, just hooked it up. Is that similar?
Yeah, it's pretty similar.
Love it. I think that's something. Yeah.
Outside of the healthcare industry, that is one of the use cases we solve as well. Is
cool.
Home automation equipment. You bring it home, turn it on, and plug it into Wi-Fi, and you're off you go.
I love it. As a consumer, and we are bringing this consumer experience in the healthcare more. These experiences are starting to merge. And it's really great to be here with both of you, bringing those consumer-like experiences, making them a reality, making them turnkey for a really important field, which is clinical trials. So really exciting. We love covering forefront of healthcare and the future, and you guys are it. This next one's for both of you. Esper and Clinical Ink, you guys have been working for some time from what it sounds like. Have you had to overcome any obstacles in your relationship?
Yeah, I think we have. I think with any relationship, there's always going to be challenges. Our business relationship started just as the pandemic kicked off. So I think that was kind of our first big challenge to get through together. And we've spent time this last year, as Sudhir mentioned, really working through our compliance process, finding ways to develop solutions and root cause analyses that meet the requirements, not just of Clinical Ink, but also of our customers. And we were able to really work through those challenges, I think, very collaboratively. And I know we learned a lot in that experience as well. And so much so that we've been able to actually take some of those processes and learnings and build them larger into our vendor platform. So we've changed some of my own kind of review processes and documentation based on that experience that we had with Esper. So it is never easy when you're working in a highly regulated industry in a time of hyper growth in the middle of a pandemic. But I do think that it certainly has made Clinical Ink a better partner. And I think it's pushed us to a better place. So all in all is well that ends well, I guess.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that, Sudhir.
Thanks for the kind words, Sam. And likewise, right? Every relationship has moments of learning that we learn and where we improve. A specific example is the language feature that Sam talked about earlier. We did not have that feature. We didn't know that that was as important to the clinical trials space. And working with Clinical Ink, we learned that that is important, and we went ahead and implemented that into the product. And now everybody can has the benefit of using that. It's that kind of partnership with our customers, like Clinical Ink, that we really value, and from our side, we want to bring partnership to the table every single time. So if there's a need that's unsatisfied, we'll figure out a way to work through it, and we'll figure out a way to help with that, because that's how we become that cutting edge. And Clinical Ink is on the cutting edge of what they do. We're on the cutting edge of what we do, and together we grow.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, were you going to say something, Sam?
It's just been really fun. I think, too, there's a specific example where we were working on a really large study that had very specific requirements that we were not accustomed to. And we were able to have several folks from the Esper team actually come in and serve as our backup to help us provision devices and kind of troubleshoot on the ground. So it's been a really exciting journey for me to be able to see that from the very beginning stage to seeing it essentially work seamlessly now. It's quite nice.
Yeah. And, Sam, you mentioned the trifecta, right? You're in hyper growth mode. COVID's there, new requirements, and it's these pressure points that make diamonds, as they say. And I'm seeing here, I didn't get the chance to, and then the listeners and viewers didn't get the chance to see you guys in action, but we get to see the end result, which is, two great companies adding tons of value to really consumers in healthcare, providers, and life sciences. What does the future look like for this partnership?
I think it's a good future. We are hoping to kind of continue to work with Esper to find new ways to streamline our provisioning process, continue to deliver on requirements that change kind of as our business expands. We find different ways of requiring things. Particularly connected devices is going to be an exciting new foray for Clinical Ink. We've been in the connected devices field before, but we're really heading into it much more broadly. And I think that will be a wonderful challenge for us to work through together, making sure that we can develop a process that allows our consumers to use the full platform, so to speak. So I think that's where we're headed. Of course, in Clinical Ink style, we like to do things with zero errors and at the fastest pace possible. So we'll be prepared for that next.
Love that. Very high standard. Sudhir, any comments from you on that one?
Yeah, from our perspective, it's the same. Continue the partnership with Clinical Ink, not only with new studies that they have to go and serve, and Sam talked about the zero errors and helping them get there. But in addition, looking at where strategically we can together take this technology that we're building, right? So we've been talking about collaborating on more ways to automate the entire process, from the devices leaving the factory all the way to the devices reaching the patients or caregivers, and how that whole process can be automated so that you don't have to then provision things in a factory or in a warehouse somewhere before you send it off to patients and things. So we're thinking about these as strategic ways that we can improve the automation for cutting edge clinical trials and remove a lot of the redundancy or the latencies in the system.
Thank you, Sudhir. It's about today, but also about where we're going in the future, and sort of taking a look at the horizon and the possible challenges and things like that. Really appreciate today's topic as we close this series. And look, I just want to open up the mic one more time for you guys. Any closing thoughts for our listeners and viewers today before we conclude?
I mean, I think from my perspective, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to have seen this kind of idea come from infancy to where it is now. And I'm really excited to see what happens in the industry and also what happens with this business relationship, hopefully in the next 5 years.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam, for the great partnership, and we'll continue this partnership. I'll do my shameless plug. Go to the Esper.io website and look at the blogs. I have a series on the vision for DevOps for devices. 3 of those are out. There's more to come on that series, so please go check it out. And Saul, I want those diamonds we talked about. Let's go find those diamonds.
Oh, man. Hey, guys and gals, on that page, we'll link it up here. All the show notes are going to be in there. So we'll have links to Clinical Ink, Esper, and of course, Sudhir's blog, where you will find the diamonds for your organization. Thank you all for tuning in. Sam, Sudhir, thanks for being with us today. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Our student.
Thanks for joining us on this outstanding series with Esper on Tech RX, your prescription for tomorrow's healthcare device challenges. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and the entire series. For details on how you could take your DevOps to the next level and transform your fleet, visit us at outcomesrocket.health/Esper. That's outcomesrocket.health/Esper.